is really making the rounds on X, and it's bringing to light Trump's true position, I think, on the vaccine subject. And now we are streaming on YouTube, so I'm not sure if we need to be careful anymore or not. I know we can't talk about MMS. We won't say the full word for it. But let's play this short little clip, and maybe we can have a little conversation about it after. This is only 2 minutes long. So here.
Show them the thimerosal bottle, which we keep in a metal container because we're a little afraid of it, and it's a very fine powder.
This is thimerosal, which is labeled very toxic, has cumulative effects, can cause damage to the kidneys, to the respiratory system, skin, to the nervous system. It specifically warns on here that it can cause reproductive and developmental toxicity, meaning that it can cause things like autism and other neurodevelopmental disorders. This is immensely toxic stuff.
And it's in vaccine.
And this is what's in the vaccine. It's important to realize we're talking about a whole range of products. Vaccines are a big one because, of course, you're directly injecting it. For example, this is tetanus vaccine. This one expires, it's a little outdated now, in 2007. And here's the thimerosal. 1 to 10,000 is a preservative. Perhaps the biggest one in the U.S., at least, that's for exposure to mercury is the influenza vaccine. Influenza vaccine is now recommended for all pregnant women, all infants, all children on a yearly basis. You're supposed
You
to
have last year's influenza? Understand that thimerosal is not added at the end. It's not like, well, that factory next year can make thimerosal free. Thimerosal, you either have to have a thimerosal free factory or you have to not have one. They add thimerosal at each step because the factory is not clean and not sterile. So you either have to have an expensive sterile factory where you don't need thimerosal, or you have to have one that produces thimerosal. It's going to need thimerosal or something the whole time. It needs to be stopped.
This is the influenza vaccine from Adventist Pasteur, their flu zone. Thimerosal, 25 micrograms of mercury per dose.
But I'd like to point out that a lot of people didn't know, and I'm one of them. I've given 2,000 Rogam shots. I've been in vaccines for 35 years. I didn't know that Rogam had thimerosal in it. So I think a lot of the doctors were unaware. They were unaware that even the word thimerosal meant mercury.
So yeah, that I just want to amplify that because the fact that Trump shared that on Truth Social, for all the Trump haters who are, talking about Operation Warp Speed and that he's responsible for that, that he's the father of the vaccine and everything. It's like Trump's really putting out mixed messages on this. A lot of us remember a tweet from his all the way back from, I think, 2014 or maybe even 2012, where he talked about the connection between autism and we're on YouTube, so I'm trying to be careful, but the V. But to put out this post now in September, when we're waiting for RFK to come out with his big announcement about what all the research has shown to be the cause of this autism epidemic, is, I think, a major preview of what RFK might discover. Now, I think he might have already put out something connecting Tylenol during pregnancy to autism. But for Trump to be putting this out is definitely, his true feelings, whatever he actually truly feels about Operation Warp Speed, although I think his statements have been misinterpreted by some. To put this out at the same time is pretty suggestive, I think, of his true position on this subject, which is really the challenge with Trump and decoding his tweets, is deciphering his public position versus his true position. And I think this was a little bit of a hint of what his true position is on this subject. And so, I'd love to get other people's take on this. And just the fact that this whole video was framed with like, they're all poison on the top and bottom, like he literally posted it like that. I doubt he edited it like that, but the fact he posted it like that is just, it's going to be devastating, I think, to the big pharma. So I'm loving the show at this point.
Well, so Dylan, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to share something real quick. I saw this. I don't even know what channel it was. If you allow me to, I'm just going to share a picture real quick that just I don't have to say it once you guys see it. Um, Let me see here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
That is the number of vaccines by generation. This is a whole family. And look at the little girl. 80, 80 plus. These are the 3, 7, 15, 80 plus. That right there should be a campaign when you look at that. And it's uh it's everything you just said.
You know, they've been poisoning us our whole life, and they didn't want us. I mean, to the cabal, we were nothing more than cattle to them. So they just want us to be their slaves, make them more money, and then they want us dying off before we're 65, 70 years of age. We got all these different diseases, and they're all man-made. And they tell us always, they tell us, oh, you got to be safe. And I know I've said this before, but the cabal always puts the litmus test out there. And we knew, I knew when when the media started telling everyone about COVID, what was the number one thing that they knew that the people were going to listen about the shots? They told everyone that we were going to run out of toilet paper. And everyone went to the store and bought carts and carts and carts of toilet paper. And that's when they knew that the people were going to listen. And this is how they manipulated the whole election, which we'll get into with Juan. We had so many dead people that voted in the elections, and the post office is totally responsible for a lot of this. And you're going to find out that the post office is not our friend. And that's going to be shocking to a lot of people. But if you knew about the Georgia Guidestones and you knew about the Agenda 2021, the Agenda 25, and the Agenda 2030, they wanted to eliminate 90% of all of us. And that's the truth. And I know people don't want to hear that, but that is the truth. And they wanted to do it through the election fraud. They wanted their people in there all the time so they can keep buffaloing the people through the media, the Mockingbird media, and they can keep those lying professors in all the universities and all the teachers and all our grade schools and high schools and teaching people nothing but propaganda. And this is hard for a lot of people to understand, but 90% of what we have in our life right now, it's all bullshit. Just like Trump said at the very beginning of this show. And this is called the Great Awakening. And the Great Awakening has got so many layers to it. It's beyond comprehension. And I know that Anna and I did a chat on her channel in Brazil on Sunday, and we talked about today being a 999. And a lot of people don't even know a lot of our spiritual dates. They don't know anything about the blood moon. And, you know, today is a great day for a reset, and it's a reset of your life, letting go of all those things that have happened in your past that we're not proud of, all the traumas that you've ever been through, whether your grandfather, your fathers, or whatever, and letting it go, just letting it all go. God is creating a brand new reset, and it's for we the people. It's all for his children. And this reset is happening, and we're going to eliminate all this evil off this earth, and we're going into the golden ages. So it's real important to understand that this blood moon is a very special time that we're living in right now. So does anyone want to add to that?
And 999 comes to the number of when they seal the silver is 999, pure silver, 999. Triple nines, we have 3 times 9, 27. We have, what is 27?
9.
You're supposed to come up with that, Anna. But that's
I'll,
brilliant that you came
I'll
up with
be
the
very
999.
gematria girl here, but yes, gematria goes to 27, comes to JFK.
Wow. Wow.
999. And there's more on this video, Dylan, that you mentioned, and we mentioned in the beginning that Trump and Juan maybe. I don't consider Juan a conspiracy theory person. I think he's very straight to the point. But and it's all a lie. Well, we just feel it in our skin, so we don't need conspiracy theorists to wake us up. At least I don't, and you don't either. And the word that caught my attention during this video from Trump is influenza, and immediately COVID. We connect the dots, like connect the dots. Q. You from COVID, you connect the dots until the influenza reset they did early in the beginning of the 20th century, and influenza comes to 108. 108. It comes to 55, loud and clear. Um, Renaissance, 108. 55 again, 108. Fitzgerald, 108. And there's one that I need us to pay attention because Rob mentioned that the other day, the other chat, last chat. 81. 81, if you slash the zero, is the first day of October, the beginning of the new year, the 2026. Correct me if I'm wrong, because please, Rob, because October is not the 10th month, it's the 8th. So Trump is always giving us much more. As Mike said, there's a lot in this bone for us to chew and to eat from and to feed ourselves and understand the plan, that we are the plan. And that's why I want to show everyone that is watching us that Brazil already, and this guy's here. Rob, you were not here when I presented that, but I came up with this drawing. God gave me the inspiration and I provided. If there's any royal house that I am waiting for, is the royal house of we the people. We mentioned that the other day, and now I drink from this cup.
I love that. I love that. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you. I knew you like it.
And that
Juan
is,
just texted me and said 5 minutes. So he's getting to a spot where he's got good connection. Go
if
ahead,
you,
Rob.
yeah, if you don't mind, Craig, I want to share one other video that goes along with what Dylan, was talking about here. And this is to put things in context. When we're talking about evil, we're talking about blowing up the, Georgia Guidestones, and it had in 20 languages how they wanted to get the population down to 500 million. And uh, to not understand the level of demonic evil that we're dealing with, people that want to get rid of 1 billion people, there is no red line they won't cross. The end of the day, there's no respect for life. These people are carnivores, they're demonic, they don't have any belief in a God, or they have a zealous hatred towards the Creator. We are cattle or too many ants at their picnic, and they won't think twice about killing us any more than they would stepping on ants. And let me give you just another piece of evidence that shows it goes along with what Dylan just showed. But, I'm going to show you this video in a minute, but when I looked at it and I put two and two together to understand the kind of war that we're at right now, new evidence of heinous crimes against humanity is being proved by a report that sane people were not supposed to see. What they saw was a report from the Ford Medical Institute on vaccines and the godly, deadly, demonic, destructive impact that these people knew it was having on children. And everything, I want to play the video, and then we'll come back and talk about it a little bit. So let me see if I can roll this up here. Here we go.
Impact of childhood vaccination on short and long-term chronic health outcomes in children, a birth cohort study. I've never seen this study before.
18,468 subjects.
Henry Ford, like other institutions, has a bias towards the goodness of vaccines. If the results came back demonstrating that the battery of vaccines was associated with chronic diseases, such a result would be particularly convincing. This could be essentially one of the most valuable studies in the field.
The vaccinated subjects were over 4 times more likely to have an asthma diagnosis.
600% more acute and chronic ear infections.
4.47 times the amount of speech disorders in the vaccinated compared to the unvaccinated.
5.5 times risk. 616% increase. Learning issues, developmental delays, speech delays, language delays.
Amongst the unvaccinated group, there were zero
brain dysfunction, 0 diabetes, 0 behavioral problems, 0 learning disabilities, 0 intellectual disabilities, 0 tics, and 0 other psychological disabilities. None.
It's a big difference.
It's very important that this study sees the light of day.
This is devastating.
This paper should have been rushed to publication on an emergency basis.
We are systematically making kids sick, and not just a little bit sick, very sick.
This may be the most important study that has ever been done, and it needs to be published.
He knows if he puts his name on this, his career is over.
I mean, obviously, really emotional.
Zervo's probably going to lose his job over this.
This is an inconvenient study for the entire vaccine agenda.
Now, what kind of people that care nothing about science, only about money, and don't mind destroying the lives of families and children their entire lives, having that kind of information and not giving two damns about stopping, sharing the information, saving children, ruining their lives, from a health standpoint, from a scholastic standpoint, from a financial standpoint, the chaos that's brought into these families because these freaks want to sell medicine and pump poisons in the body of innocent children. When you put these things together and this truth comes out, now you start looking at things like Executive Order 13818. You start looking at crimes against humanity. You start looking at things that people, a warring faction that is external to the Constitution of the United States, that are not sovereign citizens, are here hijacking our country, hijacking our treasury through their fake monetary system that's run by the Federal Reserve, running these pharmakia witch doctors, targeting and killing our kids, having young kids today have to have 80 vaccines instead of 4, all for the love of money? How do you get rid of a demonic evil like that unless you use the military? We're going to put them in timeout? We're going to go through their court system to get rid of their pharmakia specialist? Zero chance in hell we're going to extricate these demonic hijackers that are here to divide, devour, deceive, and destroy each and every one of us just as calmly as they'd chew a piece of bubble gum. They don't give two damns about us. There is no other way to get rid of an enemy that cares not a whit about our lives than through the greatest minds that ever lived that have a God-centered focus in a military operation. You're not going to vote them out. They own the voting system. You're just not going to get rid of this demonic evil unless you have the greatest military capacity on earth. And for the average person that can't understand that, I'm sorry. I can't help you. It's a good versus evil war that we're in. And evil exists in this world at a scale you've never allowed yourself to believe.